Micah Frankel for CageMinds.com. Triple A MMA IX, September 27th. It's rock solid. Camel Rock Casino. Razenakaili joins us at this time. He's going to be making his pro debut at 145 pounds. It's your first time fighting there. How you feeling?
Good.
Making your way down. You fought at 55 last time. Was there a reason for the change in weight class?
Well, being that it's my first time, I had no idea I had a right to fight at my comfortable weight. Not knowing that, I fought at the weight they asked me to, so I didn't have any other.
So for you, 145 pounds would be preferable. That's where you'd like to cut down to?
Obviously.
Looking good, everybody, right? We got Mr. Abs a week out already. Most guys look like this at the weigh-in. But let's get into your background a little bit. You're in New Mexico now. That was by way of Los Angeles before coming over from London, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about your journey. How'd you decide to come over to the United States all the way crossing the river, or crossing the ocean?
Well, my family's pretty much used to this area, the United States. So I was actually born here not too long, like I was like, what, 5, 6 years old. Lived back in the kingdom all my life till maybe like 17, 18, then I come back here to the United States. And I've always wanted to be in motion pictures, acting. Always some kind of trauma like that. So I decided I wanted action film, because as an actor you have to know your type. My type is action films. That's the type of crowd I want to attract, fight crowds. So I figured, before I get into the movies, I want to be known as a real fighter. So everyone knows Zen Fudo is real before they see it in the motion pictures. Yeah? So that's the plan. So I started doing my research. I see that New Mexico is big for fighting and the theatrical industry. So I decided to come here and train. I've been a few places like Jackson's Gym. I've been to FMBH Fit, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've had a lot of business cards after my first fight. And I've chosen, I like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a lot, but most conveniently where I stay is Warrior Boxing, and they're not bad either. So, plus I like the cardio boxing that we get is pretty nice.
So working over there, raising more in that gym, how's that been going for you?
Excellent, excellent. He's an excellent coach.
And now coming into this debut, got any nerves about it? I mean, we saw you once as an amateur, now you're jumping in, getting paid, it's going to be a pro fight, so it takes, you know, some moxie to do that. How are you feeling about it?
Well, I feel like the first time I fought an amateur, I'm no amateur. But, you know, you have to roll with the punches. It didn't take this new coach long to see my potential and immediately make me pro. So there's no question asked there. I mean, it's obvious. I know myself. I'm self-sufficient. My opponent don't worry me. I don't even know who he is. I rather know when we meet face to face. That's how I can respectfully observe my opponent, to use his force to overcome him when in combat. That way, you know, we'll see who can overcome this war that we're about to face as assailants. So other than that, everything's good. There's not much I can say about it, but just know I'm not worried.
So talking about the amateur debut they made at King of the Cage a little bit ago, what has it been like now getting the opportunity to practice on those kind of mats and stuff? I know that being on the MMA, that mat that you were on for King of the Cage, it was the first time you'd ever touched that surface. So what's that been like getting to practice and getting your footwork in order, you know, and testing out stuff now on the surface before at that moment?
I've had the same confidence I have now, but I've been initiating some techniques. I've learned that there are all technical difficulties I have to be aware of that I was not aware of the first fight. not to make excuses, but I'm more aware now and I'm more experienced and wraps and stuff like that. So I will make sure that I have a good cornerer who can really wrap my hands the way I feel comfortable, that way I have no reason for excuses. And I can clench my hands together really nice and there's no, things holding me back. The mat, my very first move, I slipped. So, it would have been nice if I was warned about something that happens all the time. My first time, it's a big, fast industry. I guess you just gotta seek these things. You can't just wait and be told. I learned that lesson, so now I'm ready.
So from the footing to the hand wrapping and now getting to spar with some other people doing MMA, how much more confident are you about going into that environment? You're just like, okay, now I've done it all, and those little things that just pop up, you're like, okay, I've experienced it. I'm more aware of what could happen.
Well, the most important thing to know, lesson as a Kung Fu martial artist extraordinaire, is that the greatest lesson in the world is to learn from your failures. That's how you win. You learn from your failures. While you lost, you learn from it. So my biggest challenge was to be more concerned about conditioning my feet for the mat and making sure I have a good corner for my hands. Because that's all I experienced in that cage. Other than that, I give that opponent, Andy, good credit for his jiu-jitsu skills. Yeah, he has that. I give him that. But I think I could have done a lot better had I not had those technical difficulties. It would have made it a lot harder for him to, though I have no jiu-jitsu experience, but the fact that I've surrendered to the art of jiu-jitsu to improve my Kung Fu, and now I'm half and half. So, or 60-40 you might say.
For someone that didn't know any jiu-jitsu, as we were sitting cage side watching the fight, your athleticism reigned through, and getting out of the first armbar attempt, which looked seriously deep, was very impressive. We could see the lack of knowledge was when you fell into that triangle, but how much more is that in training? It makes it easier for you to adapt stuff because we've seen that extraordinary athleticism.
Well, I've been training for that exact move that was used on me and executed for the future, as well as many other varieties, and I'm pretty good and fast learner, and there's about 20-30 moves I know jiu-jitsu wise from all the variations of schools and instructors, over 4 instructors. So yeah, I have 4 masters, including Ray 5. So these guys are really good and they know what they're talking about, and I just take that and I sink it into my brain. And I just practice it and practice and practice it along with my Wing Chun, Kung Fu and everything else and mix it all together. So
what do you think about bringing in your Kung Fu styling into the MMA game? Because we really don't see a lot of Kung Fu. There's a few karate guys when you look around the scene, but it's a lot of Muay Thai and traditional kickboxing when they're in their striking stances.
Well, it's MMA, mixed martial arts. So for one thing, karate is an exercise. It's always been and always will be. Kung Fu is a way of fighting and a way of life. It's more like a way of living or with the benefits of fighting. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, Kung Fu is an excellent with the acrobatic techniques that I can execute on my opponent and things like that, and the entertainment it gives to the crowd. It's all a way of me being zenful and bringing something new that's obvious alienated to lots of people's minds in the fight world of MMA. So it's going to be something new. That's what's going to make me stand out. I think it's something unique that I was not aware of. I thought I was getting into an old Chinese tradition where you go ahead and fight anyone, any weight size, doesn't matter, but I learned that there's levels and there is jiu-jitsu, ground fighting, there's not much acrobatic art. That's what I am, naturally. So, as a way of life, a living in the way of staying healthy and free, Flexible bones, staying in control of my body. You know, that's my way of being free in this society. You know what I mean?
Some people get in MMA and they're just fighters, but you are and have embraced the life of a martial artist.
Yes.
So what was it, when did you start, how young were you, what brought you to martial arts? Because you've talked about wanting to be a movie star and actor, but it started somewhere before that. So where was that?
Definitely. I didn't get into acting until what, 2012? But I just knew I had something to bring to the table. But let me see. When I was a little, like 5 years old, we were painting in the kitchen, and one day I recall my mom, she comes to the kitchen and she's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And she had no idea. I've been training Kung Fu with my brother since I was 5. And when I was 6, I was flipping off that kitchen counter, and she's like, "Oh my God." But that's when I knew, man, I have some kind of skill. My brother, who's my first sensei ever, taught me, you know, everything I know now. I mean, from how to respect women, to talk to your elders, to how to do 100 push-ups without stopping. I mean, this strictness and discipline, but love at the same time. We train iron body, we train capoeira, we train Kung Fu, which is leg striking, we train Wing Chun, which is direct, forward striking to the face and body and fatal organs. But what's made me stick to this, out of many things he taught me, like music, he introduced me to instruments, introduced me to everything, and he told me when I was 17 years old that I introduced you to all these activities to see what you will be best at. And I became good at drawing, I became good at martial arts, of course, I became good at not singing, but, you know, rap music, and I get in the booth every once in a while, you know. It's good because music and martial arts sync together. It helps my brain to concentrate and flow. Really, you know, good. So with that, yeah, that's how I started. And you know, I see that it's very healthy for me. I have more energy than I've ever experienced ever. There was a time when I have done not much Kung Fu, and I would eat some food that we all eat, you know, and I feel like tired and I feel sick. I feel like I can't get up after eating a meal. And I realized when I did Kung Fu again that I was fine again, right? And I felt like when I didn't eat much of the food we eat and I just started turning vegan or eating like less food, you know, just nutrients, I feel better. Like after a couple fruits, I can eat a full fruit meal and still be able to backflip. That's health to me. So that's what martial arts taught me. It taught me how to be very healthy. And with that, there's no limit.
With that vegan, vegetarian lifestyle, how long have you been then doing that? You said you used to eat, you know, everyday food. You're probably talking about burgers and going out fast food once in a while.
I used to be 165 pounds. And I've learned when I've gotten serious and took my diet into consideration that I can't do this flip that I want to do, like just jump in place. I can't do that anymore. Why? Because I'm too heavy. So what I do is I research and try to eat certain foods that doesn't make me so heavy. And I realized what makes you heavy is that meal you feel. Well, you feel so tired before you eat. After you eat, you feel tired. And that's why you can't get up really fast. That's the same reason I can't flip as soon as I'm done eating. And while I learned Kung Fu, you have to be prepared at all times. So I just went down the path that only keeps me following those principles. So I've only ate food that fits according to the principle. I only live that fits according to the principle. So there's not one moment that I'm not alert, that I can't do something. I can wake up and defend myself from dead sleep. You know? So that's how I live, and that's how it's going to stay from now on. And that's why I like Kung Fu.
What do you guys say to the fans? Why do they need to come out to the Camel Rock Casino on September 27th and see your pro debut?
I can't speak for everyone, but for them it's entertainment. But for me it's something bigger. it's bigger than both of us. You know, it's not only my big pro debut, but more importantly for me, it is a way for me to get out there and show the world who I am. Someone who's been in the dark for so long, who's been in the shadows, unknown, you know, but it's finally time for me to be awarded for all my hard work. Not that I'm going for money or whatever. I really didn't even know I would be getting paid for it. I just was excited at the fact that tons of people, pretty much the world, is going to see, you know, my style and how I present myself and how I, you know, compliment my opponent and, you know, educate their minds. You know, there's so many kids I've come across that are impressed that I can keep up with them in acrobatic cartwheels and their parents can't. That's what I like to see. I like to see kids happy and, oh, he's a hero, you know? Like this one kid watching, you know, this hero, Superman, or, you know, Static Shock on cartoons and wishing that that was him. Well, I used to be that kid, and there's many more kids out there now. It's all about the youth. So if they can see, if I can achieve this and accomplish this goal, this will not only help me in my life and give back to my own son, who's 7 years old, and I haven't seen for 5, 6 years now, because I'm trying to build an empire for his future. But this will inspire so many kids around the world, and they will grow up knowing that there is no limit. Because why? Because Razenakaili said so. I'm going to have my posters on the wall saying, there is no limits to what you can do.
And then the last thing, who's the people that you need to shout out to, the people that have been helping you get ready for this fight?
I want to thank Ray, Eddie, FNBH Fit, Bill, who's my current supervisor, and of course, my sensei, Bill Osiris, my brother, my family, and to my mum, hello, if you see this, I love you, and sorry for missing all the Mother's Day calls I should have given you, but I didn't mean it. It's just I get sidetracked and I kind of forget. Sorry. And other than that, peace and love.
Triple A MMA, September 27th. It's rock solid, Camel Rock Casino. We'll see everybody there.